Welcome everyone and welcome to today's F3 track guide. We are at Interlagos and it is the last race of season 3. It's been an eventful season, shall we say. Probably some tracks that shouldn't have been on the calendar this year. So hopefully next season's we've got some more F3 friendly tracks and hopefully that means that the driving standards will improve, and hopefully these track guides will help you improve your consistency and your speed. And yeah, I hope they've been of real help to you this season, and I really appreciate everyone who's subscribed to the channel and has joined the Discord as well. So I appreciate it, guys. I'm glad you have liked them. I really enjoyed doing them for you. And yeah, we've got one more for this current season, and then on to the last season of 2020. But yeah, so Interlagos, it's another track that is fast, free-flowing. This track is one that suits the F3 cars. As everyone knows, it's been on the F1 calendar for a long time. So of course it's going to suit these cars. Now this week in particular, I am using the Craig setup. Just seems to suit me better. The PDS setup was a high downforce setup this week, so I felt like I was losing a lot of time in the straights, which is where the majority of the overtaking is done here, not in slow twisty sections. So to me, it's kind of a balanced setup this week. We want the mix of some downforce for this slow twisty middle sector, but then we need the we need that raw speed, that top speed for the start finish straight and the back straight as well, because that's where all the overtaking is going to be done. Now track temperature this week is going to play a factor. It is very hot. It's going to be within the 40s. There is a big difference between track temperature in the low 40s and the high 40s. The car just wants to slide about so much, so be extra careful on the first couple of laps. So be careful to check the track temperature before you race and before you do your qualifying times, because if it's anything above 44 degrees, you need to brake early. You need to be careful because the car is just going to want to slide on you. It's just, you need to try and get the car rolling through the corners, because it's just going to want to, the back end is just going to want to step out on you. Oversteer is a big issue here this week. So looking after your tyres is going to be a big factor. You'll see a lot of guys dropping off towards the end of the race just where they don't have any rear tyres left. So yeah, if you can look after your tyres and be a little bit easy on the throttle on the middle sector, which is where the slow corners are, then you should be in good stead towards the end of the race. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. As always, hope it makes you faster, more consistent. Once again, appreciate all the feedback I've received and anyone who subscribed to the channel. On that note, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to join the Discord that is in the link in the description below, and enjoy. So guys, here we are on the start finish line, and we're going to roll this down to the first corner in slow motion. And you want to be over to the right hand side here so that you can open up this left hander in the entry into the first corner. Now it's important to hit your braking markers here and not overshoot the corner, because this is where the majority of your overtake is going to be done. This and at the end of the second straight as well, which we'll come to in a minute. So here in the F3 car, we are keeping an eye out for just after the 50 ball marker. Now we've got this green shed here, or green box, shall we say, marshal box, and we're braking in between this and the 50 ball marker, as you'll see in a second. See my throttle input there, I'm starting to get on the brake. If you brake at this green marker, you will lock up the tyres, you will overshoot the corner. So if you are overtaking someone, especially if you're coming on the inside, be very careful to keep an eye out for the 50 ball marker and brake just after it. Like I said, especially if you're coming in at a really acute angle here, you're gonna just run out of track and more than likely take out either the guys in front of you or the guy that you're trying to overtake, because you really want to open this corner up here, because if you're coming on the inside, if there's guys in front of you, they're going to be coming in from a wide angle and then into the corner. So be careful there, especially be careful with guys on your inside if you are being overtaken, because yeah, they may very well outbrake themselves. So all the way up in the gears at this point, and we're shifting down into second. Now it's very easy to shift down the gears here too quickly and get the car rotating from underneath itself by shifting down too quickly. So we want to hand the car out right and then shift down into second. So we want to make sure that we nicely go down through those gears. They're not rushed. And we come in and we kind of hit the apex quite late. So we don't hit the apex until really the grass joins this curb. Where this AstroTurf comes into a point and the grass starts, that's where we really want to get into the corner. Right a bit of the curb, as you can see, half throttle, and then from here on out is full throttle. Don't lift off. Trust the downforce through this corner. You can cut it a bit. And then it's full throttle, working your way up through the gears, keeping it tight round here. If you go over to the right hand side, you will lose time. So there's no need to allow the car to move over to the right hand side here. Keep it tight, covering as little track as possible. And then we're running it all the way down into this next corner. Now this is the second main overtaking opportunity around here. There's quite a few of them, but this is the second one where most overtaking will be done. So if you get a nice drive down here, it's important once again to not overshoot this corner. Now what we're keeping an eye out for is pretty much this concrete patch here, which is in between the 50 and the 100 marker. I would say that's pretty much 75, 60 marker. And as you can see, I'm just starting to lift off the throttle here. Braking, so I'm braking just after I go past this. I personally am not looking at this concrete patch as a braking marker. You guys may feel better to do that. I'm personally looking at the 50 and I'm braking just before the 50. That's my visualization really. I'm not looking at that concrete marker, but I pretty much brake on it. So if you guys want to use that as a reference point, by all means do. Now we're going to be shifting down into third at this point. Once again, very easy to spin the car here. On cold tyres, full tank of fuel at the start, this is where you're going to see most incidents. Well, of course in the first chicane as well, but you're going to see probably more here than you will at the first chicane, because the track falls away from you here. So it's very easy to get on the throttle too early, and it's very easy to shift down too quickly, and the car just wants to spin and go round on you. So we turn in and we want to cover this curb. We do want to go over it, and you want to get back on the throttles once you cover that curb and go over it, you want to get back on the throttle. Now be careful that you don't get on the throttle too early, because this here is so easy to get on off track. Anyone who's raced any other series around this track, GT3, GTE cars, you really do have to feel like you go around that corner at a snail's pace, because the car just wants to move over to the right hand side. And it's so easy to get an off track. So you can ride this curb, but any further over, you're tempting fate and you will get a 1x. So all the way through the gears, making our way up into the middle sector, where in your qualifying times is where a lot of the time can be lost and gained. Especially that's what I found in my practice that I've done around here. The time has just been lost here. It was good everywhere else, start and end of the sector of the track. But this middle sector is, because it's twisty and slow, and especially with how hot the track temperature is this week around here, the car just is so easy to get the car to slide and not turned in. So there is no actual boards here to brake on. So what we're going to have to do is we are going to use these tyre markings that are in the top of the track, right at the top of the hill, just before the crest in the hill. And that's when you start to brake. You're in 5th gear, trail braking round, and as you get to this apex, just before the apex, shift down into 4th when the revs drop, because if you try and shift down too quickly, then you lose speed and control. And then just a little bit more braking, trail braking, as you can see back there. And you will feel the grip in the car. On the first couple of laps with cold tyres, you will not be able to go round this corner at this speed that I'm doing it in right now. It's just the car just doesn't grip. It hasn't got the downforce, hasn't got the heat in the tyres. So you need to be careful on the first couple of laps to just take it easy around here, because it's so easy to run wide and spin it. And as we're running it through, as you can see, I'm back on the full throttle. As I get round, keeping it tight to the corner, allowing the car to move over to the left, because that's what it's going to want to do. And we want it to do that because we've now got a sharp right-hander. Now, the braking marker here, there isn't really a visual braking marker. It's more about feel. As you come over this little crest, you pretty much want to start braking, because you're coming over here at some speed, full throttle, and you just want to it's going to take a couple of practice laps. To be honest, there's no other way to do it. You can't really wing this section. You do need to practice it to find the feel, because there are no braking boards here. I believe there are in real life, but yeah, that's iRacing for you. Haven't exactly updated this track in quite a while, I believe. But we break down into seconds. Now, if you're really struggling for rotation here, as you get into the corner, shift down into 1st, because that will just allow the car to turn in some more. I personally like rolling it through in 2nds, because just shifting down into 1st, you really do have to be easy on the throttle. And it's very easy to shift down into 1st too quickly. And if you do that, the car just spins when you're shifting down the gears. So only if you're getting through the corner, you're struggling with rotation to do that. Now, as we're going through this corner, we kind of want to keep a bit of a wider line. Personally, I've turned in a little bit too early here on this lap, so probably a little time lost. I'd like to have hung it out wider a little bit longer, so that my right wheels don't take so much curb. I took too much curb here. Really, you only want your wheels to be on the ins, just on the outside of this curb. So I should have hung it out wide just a little bit longer. So it maybe cost me a couple of hundredths or something. And we go through. in seconds. If you're in first, shift back up into second very quickly. Now we get back on the throttle, but then we lift off, because what we've got here is we've then got a very tight hairpin here, and it's one that runs downhill in hot track temperatures, which it is here this week in the mid 40s. It's so easy for the car to just slide. I personally didn't spin it, but if the car slides, you just lose 2, 3 temps, 4 temps even around here, and it's so easy to do with just one corner. So we just allow the car to roll through here, keeping it tight, and then we start to apply pretty much as you get down, as you start to turn in and it goes down, you will feel the car to slide a little bit. And what you'll actually have to do is put some throttle input. That's when you know to get your foot on the gas some more, because that then gets the car gripping and turning in. So we want to keep it as tight around here as possible. Once again, staying off this curb, off the left-hand side of the curb. We want to stay on the right-hand side, because I don't know if you can see here, there's kind of a ridge that runs from the middle of this curb. If you get the wheels on the left-hand side here, on the inside, then you lose grip, and the car, the bottoms out and bobbles a bit, so you just lose that grip and that optimum exit. And then as we get, before we get round the actual exit of the corner, we're getting on full throttle, allowing the car to move over to the right hand side. So that corner is just all about allowing it to just roll through, and then ease on the throttle and exit the corner. Now we then come up to another sharp right hander very quickly. So we want to move the car over to left hand side, and this time we do have a visual braking marker. We've got this tree. Now we're not braking on the tree, we're going to be braking just before it. As you can see there, I'll start to brake. Probably broke a little bit too early, to be honest. I could have been a little bit more, could have broken a little bit later. But once again, this is another corner that's so easy to lock your front wheels up and overshoot the corner. And then the next section is very important, because that is where you set up your overtaking maneuver down the back straight. So this corner is really important here, but we're holding it out left, shifting down into seconds. Now this one, I don't like shifting down into first at any time. If you've overshot the corner and you need that rotation, shift down into first to get the car turning in. But this is second gear all day long. Same as the other corners. Ride the curb. Once again, probably took a little bit too much curb. Would have liked to have kept it out a little bit wider, so that I didn't get the wheels onto the middle of the curb. As you can see, the car bobbling a bit, so it affected my exit slightly. Back on the throttle very quickly, and then from here it's full throttle all the way down into the next corner. Now, be careful here of putting, especially at the start when you've got no grip in these tyres and they're cold, be careful of putting in too much steering input here, because the car will want to go on you. It does slide. You do get some oversteer around here. It's what this track is all about, is just managing the oversteer. If the track temperatures the way they are, tyres are going to fall off very quickly. So towards the end, second half of the race, if you can look after those rear tyres, you are probably going to pick up some places towards the end. You'll see some incidents, and you'll just make up time on the guys in front of you. So we are keeping it tight here. I've got plenty of grip in these tyres right now, and we're allowing the car to move over to the right. Now, don't cover this curb too quickly, because you will get an off track. But this whole green light turf here, astroturf, whatever you may call it, grass, meshy grass, we can cover. We can really move over to the right hand side and open up this left hander, Now, this corner is probably the most important corner on the track because it sets up your whole run down to the first corner, which is the prime overtaking opportunity. If you get a good exit here, you are just going to sail past anyone that you're following, because we all know how effective the draft is in these F3 cars. And likewise in your qualifying times as well. This is, if you get this corner perfect, you can make up a good half a second here. So what we're keeping an eye out for, there's a couple of light patches here, or dark patches in the mesh. Now there's two, there's one here and there's one just a little bit further on. What we're keeping an eye out for is pretty much what I do is I'm not looking at the one that's further on, to be perfectly honest. I'm looking at this first one. Once I've gone over this first one and I'm in between the two patches, that's when I start to brake. And this is all about carrying momentum here and allowing the car to roll through. We shift down into third and we cover this curb. Don't want to get these wheels on the inside here on the light patch. GT3s, GTEs, you can do that because the car's got the ride, it's got the suspension. We can't do that in the F3 cars. So you can ride the actual green and white curb, but you cannot get on the grass here to cut the corner because the car just bobbles, you lose grip. It's more detrimental to you. But what you want to keep an eye out on here is my throttle input. I get on the throttle very early here. As I've hit this apex, that's when I then start to get back on the throttle. Allow the car to move over to the right. Now, once again, important, I haven't got this car over onto this meshy stuff. If you do, the car bobbles, lack of grip, affects your run all the way down to the first corner. So try not to overshoot it. So for one, so try not to cut this corner and try not to go too fast, because if you do, you'll overshoot it and this will just affect your exit, your grip. You have no grip and the car bobbles and you'll be a sitting duck on this straight. And then it is just full throttle, keeping it tight to these apexes as you go through. No need to allow the car to move all the way over to the right hand side. Tight to this wall. Tight to the pit box. And across the line. And there we go, guys. That is it. That is a lap around Sao Paulo. Our last lap of this season, of season 3. Sao Paulo, Interlagos, isn't it? So I never call it Sao Paulo. I don't know why I did that. It's because I saw it on the boards. But yeah, that is a lap around Interlagos. It's going to be very hot here this week, so managing your tyres is going to be important. And yeah, just keep it clean, guys. As always, avoid the carnage and you'll end up getting a good result around here. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the track guides for this this season. I am going to continue to do them for next season for the tracks that we haven't done. Don't know the calendar as of yet, but I hope you guys have enjoyed them. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to join the Discord in the link in the description below, and see you for the next one.